Alright, so a few of you have asked, hey, can I see that behind the scenes? Well, here you go. 20,000 lights, between 80 to 100 hours to set up and plan and all that good stuff, so it's just a rough estimate. Around 700-800 zip ties, and yeah, so let's get right into it. Go a few things of how I do things, maybe what my thought process is, different things like that. So, first off, it's a Sunday morning in December, and it's like 50 degrees. How great is this? It's actually almost noon, but sunny. Look at that. Beautiful. It's beautiful. So, first things first, I started the weekend before Halloween. The weekend of Halloween, I didn't even get to do anything because I was taking on Halloween. I had other work that needed to be done. So that week, nothing happened, which I got behind a little bit. And then we had rain the next weekend, and snow the next weekend. So I got really behind, and then the last weekend, we got like a third of it done in one weekend. So, with that being said, let's start with the outline here. These are like they're the M5 mini LEDs. Zip tied to the top of each candy cane. There's 16 or 17 candy canes that aren't lit. There's 7 on either side of the driveway. Now these are just put right into the ground. Nothing really to explain there. That's that, put in there. And then what I did was make sure I had the right amount of lights. I went the perimeter with the ground, with them on the ground. Think, okay, this looks pretty good. So I raised them up and made sure they're not perfectly even, but the swags are even. So then we have our arch. It's the front one is 35. I think it's actually really 34 foot of pipe, but basically 35 feet. 3.5 pieces of pipe with 500 lights. Now, I wanted an even distribution of light because see, one light strand is about 21, 22 feet, so you drag that up, and that will go from, like, let's say you start this end all the way there, then you do the other one, then you have more lights up in the center, like I had that last year. So I'm like, bigger arch, let's divide the light strands. If you fold them in 7-foot sections, then they'll make an even 7-foot piece, right? Because 7 times 3 is 21, so you fold over 3 times. And at 35 foot, that was just about right. Guide wire is a combination of 16, I think it's 16 or 20 gauge wire. It's the same thing I use for the mega trees, which I'll go over in a second. They're put with various hooks and stuff along the arch that I installed. I really love the dollar store too. These came from the dollar store, those candy canes, and all but the 2 big ornaments, those came from Lowe's, and they were like $7 a piece, but I had to have them, right? Just attached with zip ties. Dollar store had 12 of the small ones for $1, which I'm gonna go buy some more for a different project, but the center ones were $1 a piece. So, simple. The arches are 3/4 inch EMT electrical conduit, slipped over 1/2 inch rebar. Now, I prefer 1/2 inch rebar over 3/8 and 5/8 as far as that goes, because 1/2 inch is more versatile than like 5/8, because it will fit inside that. It fits inside the trees over there, which I'll get into in a second. Basically, any blow mold that's attached to a post, like those candles and these soldiers and anywhere else, they're just zip tied to it. I find that to be the easy way. Actually, it needs to be tightened up a little bit, but other than that, that's that. The second arch actually has 300 lights on it, but you get the point. Actually, these guide wires are actually not really wires, they're old blow-up tie-downs. I just had them, I'm like, let's use those, because they're black and they won't show up, and that's what I wanted on this side of the display, since that's where the brighter stuff is and more. I didn't want it to be as noticeable. At least that was the thought process, but you can still see them. At the front here, we have the mailbox. This little tree right here is just a piece of wood. I painted it black this year because I thought that would make it look better, and it did. The wood just doesn't look good. The M5 LEDs, I kind of just eyeballed it going to the bottom, and they're just put in with stakes. Now, you can make stakes out of basically anything you want that's heavier wire. Like, I use coat hangers, I've used tomato cages, I had some extra, I cut them up and made stakes. I've used old wire frames of stuff too at one point or another. But you can do different things like that with it. On the mailbox here there's like, what was it? I think there's like 150 of these guys, and then there's a 25 count of these C9 size. But I like the combination of big bulbs and small bulbs. I always have. I just think it looks pretty good. It doesn't matter, incandescent LED, it all kind of goes together. Alright, on the driveway. The candy canes here are just staked in the ground with the candy cane stakes that come with them. And once those go out, I usually just find a pole that fits inside there next to the lights and just stick it up over it. That's what I do for that. I will get into wire management in a second after I'm done explaining everything. I said these are zip tied to the top of these too, and that's a really fun process if you've never done it. So, right, blow molds in the yard. No, I don't use sandbags, I don't use rocks. I've used bricks before and rocks before, but they just don't work. Like Halloween, I had a 3 pyramid stack of hay bales, and the top blow mold on top had like 6 or 7 rocks on it. Maybe they were bricks, I don't remember. But for the ones in the yard, I prefer to stick them over a pole of some kind. And actually Santa works good because it will go up into the top of his hat here and kind of just keep it in line. They'll rock a little bit, but I've done it that way for 3 years and never had a problem. These, I built 3 of these, and the other one's right there next to the snowman and the little tree, but they're tomato cages wrapped in garland and multicolor LEDs. I was gonna not put garland, but I thought in the daytime it'll look good, and it looks decent in the daytime here. They're just staked to the ground. I don't know what size tomato cage it is. Santa here's, you get the idea. It's not that big. So I want to get some bigger ones next year and do the same thing. These are little trees. They go in a sleeve in the ground. Store-bought. Yeah, I'm trying to get away from store-bought items because it's something everyone has, unless it's like little trees. Like wireframes, everyone has the same wireframes. Do something different. Like my big snowman way over there. Alright, so I did a tutorial on these 10-foot trees last year. So you can find that on my channel if you go poking around on there. But basically it's 1.5" PVC. I should have painted it black this year, but maybe next year. It's 10-foot piece, just one 10-foot piece over, I believe it's 1.25" conduit or something like that. And then just sleeves right over. The guide wires aren't tight, like as you can see that one. It's not tight at all, but they're there for if it wants to blow away and start rocking. They're there, and they're just put in a like 1.5" tent stakes or whatever. I got a Walmart real cheap. And a 1/2" pipe at the base. I believe that's 2 pieces of PVC bent around, if I remember correctly. This guy, he's about 6 foot, a little under 6 foot. I didn't have enough to make a full tree with the LEDs because I wanted to make those trees. You know, I used it in other areas, like I put some on the mailbox. But basically, it's an L bracket that is. I just draped the lights over the top. I put that hook on there because it had a long bolt and I had it handy. And I just looped the lights over the part sticking out and then drug them to the ground with stakes and eyeballed the distance. I did measure on the angel pole over there, but alright, now the 20-footers. I built 2 and I redid my 15-foot one, so I basically built 3 trees this year. Essentially, I have a tutorial on my channel, so if you want to get more in depth about how I did this, how I did that, go on my channel. I'll try to put the links in the description of everything I'm talking about. But it's a fence post top rail, which I believe is not quite 1.25". It's right above it or something. It's not perfectly 1.25". They go into a wood cross space that has drilled the hole in there, and then it doesn't go through this bottom piece since it's stacked 3 high. It's all to keep it from moving around and going in to the ground. It's not for stabilization at all. That's not really why it's there, even though it does help. The lights, the way they're attached is to a pulley head. I put lights on at the 10-foot mark, which is right there. Those are eye hooks, and I think the smaller eye hooks are actually at the top because I use the thicker ones for the middle, because where the pieces come together, they're screwed between them for support. So basically I put the pole up in the guide wires and then attach the lights and pull them up. And the pulleys for the lights, this is the wire. It's not the thickest, but it does have enough weight load capacity for what I'm using. I think it was rated at 110 pounds or something close to that anyways. And the guide wires are attached to pieces, where are we? Pieces of 2-foot 1/2-inch rebar in the ground. I bought them in 4-foot sections because it's cheaper that way. They didn't have any 10-foot pieces of 1/2 inch, which I was not very happy about, because 10-foot pieces are only like $3, and I paid like $4 for those a piece, and I bought like 8 of them, or 10 or whatever it was for this year. But besides the point. 1/2-inch EMT conduit bent around the base, and they're just zip tied at the bottom, and they're zip tied to the hook head, which is in the in that tutorial if you want to check it out. 23 strands on this tree, 24 on that one. Alright, on to the garage here. The bench, it's here all year. It's not nothing special, but I have 5 candy canes, one that doesn't light up, and I believe there's like, I'm just gonna say 100 LEDs. I do like the combination of cool white and red. I just like, or just white and red in general. I think it looks good, and the LEDs really bring those colors to life. But the candy canes are just zip tied to it. Garland, I did a little bit different than normal. It's just kind of, around the top, all nice and pretty. And now this tree, I got 2 of them from my great aunt this year. That one and the one on the porch, right? The one on the porch doesn't really fall over because of where it's at in the wind, but this one did. Because the ones in the yard I can stake down, these I can't, so I jerry-rigged some bricks to it, right? Just zip tied them. But it has not fallen over since. So I consider that a success in that department. But anything that you see hanging on the brick, like right there or over on the other part of the house, is not actually on the brick. It's on strings coming from the top of the brick, which I prefer because you don't have to drill in the brick and do all this or that or get special hooks or what have you. The lights are tucked in there, which I'll go over on the porch. The wreath, got it for like $5 at a sale. Nice heavy metal frame. It weighs quite a bit, and it's actually fallen down when I was messing with it. Over here we got a soldier. Surprisingly he has not, as far as I know, he hasn't moved. And he doesn't have a stake in him, no weight, nothing. I guess because he's up against the house, it doesn't matter with the way the wind hits him. My grandma here, she has this little dog statue, right? So she's like, oh, let's get a bow on him. I'm like, okay, grandma. But she likes it. We picked up a pack of 8 of them at the dollar store for like $1. Little bows. I'm gonna put the others on that tree right there. Alright, so the porch here. Next year I'm planning on replacing those bushes right there and the windows and the porch with LEDs. At least that's a plan, and maybe some more stuff. But these are actually zip tied in 3 or 4 places along the garland. They're old faded, they actually don't look bad because they're like a really light blue, not like the weird aqua blue, because they're that faded. But they're just strung on there. The garland I try to get even wrapped. I should measure it out, but it's whatever. Now what you can do, if you're lucky enough to have a siding house, which some people don't, they have all brick or they have all like wood. You can do is just hook the lights in the siding here, and it gives it that nice appearance at night. You can build frames. I talked to a guy yesterday. He actually does build frames and puts it around the windows and doors, and looks good, right? But I find that simpler if you have a vinyl house to work with. You can do, if like, see at the top of mine how they're not It's like a looser edging. You can put pieces of mulch in the side, like mulch from your flower beds. Put the mulch in there, you can't even see it, and it looks great. And when you take them out, you do pop, 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 and all the lights come out. Alright, so here we have what people consider to be the most important part of any Christmas display, and I do too for the most part, is your manger scene. That's why do we celebrate Christmas? Because of the manger scene, or the birth of Jesus. So, first year we had them, we didn't have anything, no hay, no stable, no angel behind them, none of that good stuff. So, the stable's probably 5 or 6 years old and needs to be, the top is probably going to get restained next year. My dad and I actually built the stable. I don't remember the price. I know the top is treated wood. I don't remember what the legs are made out of, or how long it took, any of that stuff. But the angel pole is this little angel over top of, I think there's 1/2-inch rebar that goes up to the top right there. Somewhere right around there. And then the lights are just up tight, and it's a 3/4-inch EMT conduit, which I've used that pole for years for various things, mostly this, but it was my first, quote-unquote mega tree back in 6th grade, which I thought was like uber cool. But behind it we have the wood cutout candy canes I got 3 of those for free at a garage sale. I only bought 2 to begin with, but she's like, come back later. If they're still here, you can have them. So we came back, got them, repainted them because they were painted horribly. They were bad. Baby Jesus here, the hay, the straw actually, when I go buy the stuff for Halloween, because I got 6 of them for Halloween, I bought a 7th, and kept in the garage till now to keep the hay fresh, or it's not hay, it's straw. But it keeps it fresh and keeps it nice, really nice looking. So when you get those pictures taken in your Christmas display, it looks nice and pretty. Snowman, a couple little trees, we staked down like the other blow molds. The lamppost here was put in last April, so it's been here, it'll be here 2 years this coming April, so it's been here not that long, but it gives me something else to decorate. So, I think there's 125 lights on it, because there's a 50 of red, 50 white, and then 25 of the bigger warm lights, which I think it looks pretty good. Some fake poinsettias there, and also all our poinsettias are fake. All of them. Up here at the front, these are a lot smaller bushes this year. The one last year was probably 10 or 12 foot tall. It was getting kind of bad, but the harsh winter got to them, which I'm actually happy about, and so is my grandma, because you can see everything. You can see the house, even in the summer, it just looks better. What I did, these are crepe myrtles, and the reason they're big still is because you cut them in late February, but the lights are actually zip tied at the top of these, like right there, to get them to stay up, because I wanted that effect at night of the bush being illuminated, not just a mash of lights like what that thing turned out to be. Because this year the squirrels actually chewed through 3 of the light strands on this one. Actually 2 different light strands, but chewed in 3 places, like one was chewed on twice. It's something with the way they make the plastic for the cords, and what the ingredients and chemicals they use. It tastes good to some animals, but so that's kind of a pisser. But won the lights contest, thumbs up. Put lights on them, put a little light down there so you can read it at night, because I had the lights around it, but they weren't bright enough to read it. So I thought, hey, I got another little of those guys. I'll put that on there. You can read it. Some of the only store-bought items that still currently inhabit the display, besides blow molds and candy canes, are these guys. They're deer. Simple. Got them at Walgreens. These trees, I got them 3 of them for $5 after Christmas, and 3 of them for $10 because I was afraid they were going to sell out, and I at least wanted 3 for the next year. And last year these were all 6 new. Each of them have 400 lights with a combination of 2 different colors, which next year I'm going to go back to the single color just to change it up, make the display look different. This one happens to have 200 yellow, well, actually they're gold, but 200 gold and 200 green. The other one has 200 blue and 200 green, which I'm not doing the combination again. You can't even see the blue, but And then one of the other trees, I think it has blue and yellow, and the others all have blue and green. Not blue and green, yellow and green, gold and green. The 15-foot mega tree here in the center, which actually is more like 18 foot with the star, because the way the star is really goofy this year, which I don't really like, but it's what I'm working with. It's built the same way as the 20-footers, except instead of two 10-foot pieces, it's 10-foot piece and like a 5 or 6 foot piece. And the base is 3 pieces of 1/2-inch conduit instead of 4. And actually the big trees have like a 12-foot base on them, and this one has, I don't remember, but I do like the way the lights come to the center, which I'm actually thinking about lifting this one off the center next year, like lifting the base up, just because I think it'd be cool. But if we do that, the pipe's got to be black. I'm not doing that with white pipe. I saw a tree the other day here in town, looked at lights last night, it had white base. Ugh, no, I'm not digging it. So the way these trees are in the ground, they're actually over a 1/2-inch conduit, half-inch rebar. As they slid the poles the trees are made off, slide right over it. Not any problems this year. Have some presents staked up. Alright, so a little overview of my big snowman. 3 circle pieces of 3/4-inch EMT conduit, 1.5-inch pole center. The eyes are mounted and with the C9s as well as the buttons. 600 LEDs and 5 C9 bulbs. Tutorial will be on my channel if you want to check that out. Give you a little more in-depth look at him, how I did it. He slipped over 3 pieces of rebar in the center and 3 guide wires are attached. It's actually the old mega tree pole from last year that was in the spot of that tree right now. But a very simple design. Everyone loves him. Cable management. It's always a hard thing to achieve in my book. Just the nature of the cable and how you have to have so many to do a display. This year I get a little better every year because you try things that don't work and do work, but this is the only rat's nest we really have around here. I mean, there's one on the porch, but it's not this bad. That's the receiver that power the outdoor Bose speakers. I got $50 on Craigslist. I thought that was a pretty good deal. But that was an old receiver we had laying around, so I just ended up using that. There's a power strip that the music's played off of this guy, my old Nokia phone. So what it does is, it's actually playing right now. And it just plays on a loop, and when you turn on the lights, it turns on the receiver, and then the lights start, and then the music starts going. So right now the receiver is off, the only thing on is that phone. That's phone's 4 years old now. Yeah, I got it 4 years ago. But it's plugged into that power strip, and the power strip is plugged. Actually, no, it's plugged into that, and the power strip's plugged into that. It's a wireless remote thing. They're rated at 15 amps, which I'm glad I upgraded. Everything that plugs in outside is plugged into this power strip that's on the circuit. They go out to various things. I believe this is the tree on the front porch. This is the soldier. No sense wasting all that. No, that's actually speaker wire. This is the soldier. They plug it in there, and then actually that little section of stuff right there, I had to take off that breaker, put it on this breaker. So I had to, you don't want cords across the concrete, which is fine, but it's actually run up over the garage door and all the way over there. It comes down over here. Actually, no. Whoops. It comes out right through here. And this string's from a different thing I had, but it comes down there, and that's that. Cables right here, they just everywhere. They go out. Speaker wire goes out under the mats, and under the speakers are under the bushes. But the cables right here are for this section, which control the front of the house, not the garage, but the front of the house, and mega tree, the center mega tree, and I think the bush is there. Could have lights on these little tiny bushes. Something like that. But I try to tidy it up like that's a power strip under there, and I made that thing and I painted it this year to make it look good. It covers the power strip. So here we have the vertical wreaths, which I think look pretty good. They add a vertical element and with a stationary element in the center, which I like. I want to get more horizontal movement going next year in the display, like rows of lights horizontal, because I think that would set everything else off. But it's ribbon light attached to the top and stake to the ground at the bottom with the wreath in the center. And it's the same all across the board. Net lights on the bushes as well. Oh, there's a look at one of the speakers. So over on this side, it's an outdoor wireless remote. Because my room needs to be able to turn them on from the door, I had to move this thing over. So, because the plug's on the side of the house, around the side there. So you run it all the way over with a 15 amp cord. Then 2 13 amps come off of it and one goes down to a receptacle that's mounted down here, which has more available if I need it. And it goes to there and to the snowman. Other than that, I try to keep the cords like come out, like see how that comes out there. It goes point to point. I don't have it all like every which direction, which I want to try to avoid. Another big mess is behind the manger scene here, because it's the major terminal for this is on the garage circuit. It does the outline, the candy canes, the mailbox, the archways, and the manger scene. Well, if I didn't say the manger scene, I believe it also does those bushes. But it's actually it's 2 different things I got going here, because I needed another plug. So it runs into that thing first and then runs into the power strip. But it runs out and goes along here. These are all 6-foot cords in between the candy canes. They get tidied up every few because the extra they're 4 foot, extra 2 foot adds up. Everything's zip tied along here. It's the same thing for that side, but it gives it a nice uniform look. And I also use a lot of these guys as well. Alright guys, so if you have any other questions or just want to comment on the video, put that in the comments below. Thanks for taking time to watch the whole video if you're still around. Really do appreciate it. And I will have the link to the final video of the display, as well as to some pictures of the display, I believe, in the description below if you want to check those out. I had some photographers come this year that are taking a photography class, and they've really helped out this year. I do appreciate that. So, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.